want to call upon the people of Abazonia today, wherever you are in the diaspora, in Abazonia itself, that in a struggle you are bound to have divisions. But divisions should not divert you from the main focus, the main challenge. We have struggled to expose the happenings, the human rights abuses in Abazonia. The army has killed hundreds and hundreds of thousands, burnt houses of people, internet was cut off, schools were closed, dispensaries, hospitals were burnt down. Abazonians should not be intimidated by Paul Robia. It is not upon the leaders of Abazonia, because I am not from Abazonia, but I've played a pivotal role in making sure that I loud out the voices, I put out the call, I call upon AU, EU, United Nations, Human Rights Watch, Amnesty International. Many of them have listened to some of the things that I say here, and they have come at last. America, United States of America, is slowly moving towards giving the Abazonian people the dignity they deserve. I therefore call upon the leaders and the leadership of the Abazonian people to unite for a purpose. The unity of purpose is paramount, as opposed to disunity, which has nothing but only produces ego that we have seen in South Sudan. What has killed South Sudan is not because they is ego between Riek Machar and Salva Kiir. We would not like to see that ego come to the people of Abazonia, the leadership of Abazonia. I call upon Samuel Sako, Akanga, Miran, and Eko to unite and talk with one voice on international scene that will bring about the peace, the tranquility that you yearn for since 1961, when the resolution 1608 was abandoned by the United Nations General Assembly and Abazonia was annexed by the Cameroon government by then. I call upon you, my brothers, to pick up the unity call and free your people without disintegration. Thank you.
Thank you for finding time to be with us this day. It is the 27th day of April 2022. My name is Miriam Mogutu and the show is Good Morning Africa. Good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're tuned in this morning. I'd like to bring us up to date with the latest headlines in the leading newspapers from the country this morning, and then I'll bring in my panelists and we'll get into the conversation around some of the stories that have been covered today. We start with the Standard newspaper. The main headline, Bittersweet, the Raila Kibaki ties. Former Premier flies back from US trip to bury the man who rode on his Kibaki Tosha endorsement. They fell out and were reunited by a forced handshake after 2007-2008 post-poll violence. The story is on page 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And also 14. Why there is a fresh fuel crisis, government directs about 60 oil marketers to release fuel held for export as it emerges that the firms have not met the 60-40 ratio amid reports of shortages in certain parts. The story is on page 4. What Elon Musk 5.1 trillion Kenya shillings. Bid means for Twitter. That also translates to about 44 billion US dollars. And then the main pictorial there, of course, is the military personnel carrying the casket of late President Kibaki on the second day of public viewing of the body at the Parliament buildings, Nairobi, yesterday, and today will be the last day for public viewing of the body of the late president at Parliament buildings. And we turn our attention now to the Star newspaper. Raila, Ruto, Deputies, Kenneth, Waiguru top. IBC eases pressure on big wigs, postpones running mates deadline to May 16th. The story is on page 4 and 5. And then mourners in tears as Kibaki's body lies in state for a second day. That is also the main pictorial. Civil servant on 32 Kenya shillings net pay, but with 80 million Kenya shillings fortune. That is on page 2. Tough times ahead as the price of unga is projected to skyrocket. That is on page 10. Over 5,000 aspirants to run as independents. Number expected to rise. You'll find that on page 7 on the Star newspaper. The Daily Nation, the main headline, Interpol probes politician who moved 25 billion Kenya shillings. More than 25 billion Kenya shillings was wired into Kenya from Nigeria and Hong Kong between October and November 2020 by a criminal network that international detectives say enjoys the backing of a powerful Kenyan politician. The Assets Recovery Agency is investigating 3 companies over 5.6 billion Kenya shillings, or just a quarter of the actual amount in question, which raises the question, where did the 20 billion Kenya shillings go? The story is on page 4 and 5 of the Daily Nation. Musalia, how I twice saved Mwai Kibaki's life. That is on page 9. Delay tactic fears as aspirants get 20 days to name deputies. That is on page 12 and 13. Family of murdered athletics star waits for police answers. That is on page 3. And CBC training for junior secondary teachers begins. That is on the back page. And then we do have of course, that amount of money, broken down there, the different accounts that money was being wired to in the country. The other, stories from across the continent, the other headlines, the new vision from Uganda, 1,000 schools get 1 trillion bailout. That is what we have there. The Nation, terrorists release photos of 62 train attack hostages. I think that is from Nigeria. The Guardian from Nigeria as well. Ayade joins presidential race to withdraw if Jonathan declares. And the Punch still from Nigeria. Obi's camp protest as PDP dumps zoning. Screening begins on Friday. And the Daily News from Zimbabwe. CCC in catch 22 over governance as both holding sidestepping Congress comes with risks. And then the New Day from Zimbabwe, still CCC thumbs nose at Congress idea. And then we look at the Namibian city executives block land deal. That is the main headline. The Sun still from Namibia, government eats humble pie on FEMA. And the Nation, new tax rates shrink salaries. I think that is from Zimbabwe, if I'm not wrong. And then we go to the Daily News from Tanzania. Samia pardons 3,826 inmates. And the Guardian from, I think, is it Tanzania? VP extols 58 years of union, lists milestone. Yes, from Tanzania. The Citizen still from Tanzania. Unions untold story. So that is what we have in Kenya, and also some newspapers from across the continent of Africa. Thank you so much for joining us. We are joined by Dr. David Matanga from the Political Command Center. Doctor, a very good morning to you.
Good morning. How are you all? Good morning, Gladwell. Thank you very much, viewers, for joining and watching Punchline Africa TV. This is the Political Command Center in Africa. Thank you.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm being asked if you could adjust your, I don't know if you could get your mic, your audio. They're having issues with receiving that, but thank you. Thank you for that. Gladwell Kirago, very good morning to you.
Very good morning to Miriam. Very good morning to Doc. Good morning to our viewers, depending on where you're watching us from.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much. So I guess we'll just start our conversation this morning. This headline on the Daily Nation: Interpol probes politician who moved 25 billion Kenya shillings. Doc, perhaps you would start us off in the conversation.
This is the headline where on the Interpol, okay. Thank you very much, Medium, and sorry, I'm never prepared with this microphone because I go back to my microphone that are stationed on the table. Thank you very much, viewers. The question of money laundering across the continent of Africa and across the globe is one of the most heinous crimes, economic crimes that any human being can be engaged in. Kenya seems to have been a conduit of this heinous crime. And there are people in Kenya who have been part and parcel of this business of money laundering. Time has come for us, as we fight corruption, as we fight human trafficking, as we fight cocaine, time has come for people to fight also the question of money laundering. Because money laundering destroys economies. Money laundering destroys banking systems. Money laundering encourages crime. Money laundered brought into a country without the knowledge of the authorities of the central bank and the knowledge of the Minister of Finance encourages conflicts on the continent of Africa. People buy arms, people buy people, they trade in human beings to go and pay, they pay mercenaries to go and kill other people. So anybody involved in money laundering definitely must go to jail. And I'm very interested in seeing the outcome of this Interpol probe, where 25 billion, and surprisingly, out of 25 billion, only 5 has been traced. And we have been here at Punchline Africa TV. I have no worries. And don't worry for me, cry for yourselves, the children of Jerusalem. Jesus said that when the women started crying, don't cry for me, cry for your children, because I've done my time on earth. And I'll do my time on earth after living here for over 60 decades, which some people have not reached. Ruto has not reached 6 decades. He's still below me by 10 years. So cry for yourself, Ruto. Don't cry for me. Cry for yourself, because you are going to be in tears. You know, you can do these things all the time and think people are foolish. You can't say you have picked a phone and called Equity Bank to give Mr. Harun Ayadin $5 billion. Was it 5 billion or 15 billion? Medium, it pains at times. When there are no people in Kenya, when there are people in Kenya who sleep without food, it does pain. It pains at times when you don't have money in the pocket for the children to go to school. It does. But there is somebody who is siphoning, using your brains, and then coming back to say, you know, I'm one of the best people, and you have refused to elect me. It's better for me to be elected. Elect me, I'll serve you. And you have taken from the same people. Who are these companies? Who owns these companies? Who are the directors? Let's have them published so that we can get this money back. If you go further on this story, you will find that the explanations are at times someone is colluding with these guys for us to be doing headlines, and we don't see the culprits in court. I'm sorry. Thank you. That's the match. Don't push me to the level of me going into the subject. I told you I have avoided that subject of cases falling apart, money laundering, corruption scandals, corruption scandals, so on and so forth. Thank you.
All right, and just a bit of a background story on the same before I bring in Gladwell. For more than 2 months, Kenyan authorities have been investigating a string of cash transfers from Nigeria without realizing they may hold the key to unlocking the whereabouts of the 20 billion Kenya shillings at the center of local and international suspected money laundering rings. Investigations by Interpol have revealed that more than 25 billion Kenya shillings was wired into Kenya from Nigeria and Hong Kong between October and November 2020. A source privy to the matter has since confidentially disclosed that 3 Nigerians suspected to enjoy the backing of a powerful Kenyan politician and 2 Kenyans wired the cash in US dollars and euros to Kenyan banks through multiple companies registered locally with shared ownership and suspect addresses. Court papers indicate that the Assets Recovery Agency ARA, which is investigating 3 companies over 5.6 billion Kenya shillings, a quarter of the actual amount that entered Kenya, does not know the magnitude of its probe. And then they've named those companies there: Avalon Offshore Logistics, RemX Capital Limited, RemX Limited, RemX Investment Partners, and Multigate Limited, and they continue like that. And despite confirming that AAR has yet to interrogate shareholders of the companies, the officer insisted that its investigations are going and could see some of the suspects charged with money laundering and other economic crimes. The Nation has established that Interpol's investigation has hit a brick wall, as it will need to cooperate with Kenyan and Nigerian authorities to determine when, how, and why 25.6 billion Kenya shillings was moved between the 2 countries. Gladwell.
Miriam, Avalon Offshore Company Logistics. We know the suspect. Yes, the suspect was impounded with money at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, isn't it? That's the same guy carrying money for someone. The problem in this country here, people are fearing to get this someone. And maybe we pray that one bigger court can come and get this someone so that he gets Kenyans. Some Kenyans fear even to go near this someone. Honestly. And we are talking, media, let's go to another topic, because this is very painful. Look, there is rule of law. Nobody refuses that. But we know the man, Mr. Bett, was caught with money. And that money was impounded at Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. He was a messenger bringing money for someone. Say this money is going to kill Kenyans. Hello? This money will kill Kenyans, media. This is the money they are going to use. If they don't win elections, they will buy people to kill people. You have already seen how your election is shaky. Yes, 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 yes. I can say that 100 times, Miriam. Do not say I'm wrong. It's shaky. This is a preparation of a very dangerous route. We know the people of the money. We need this man in court. Let him be given bail, because your constitution is a very good constitution that cries, that wants, that actually begs people to steal more and come. Did you know that? It says go and dig a hole in Thika KCB branch. Dig a hole and reach the ATM. Once you pull out the 50 million, go and get a stay order that the CIDs should not come to my house, to your house. And then you walk around the town until actually use some of that money. Go to the police station and say, sign for 2 months and go to Mauritius and enjoy the money with your family. That's what the Constitution of Kenya is saying. You can arrest somebody today. He's very sure in the cells. He said, when can I go to court? Have you ever seen of a community that says that? People in London fear even in court. Did you know that? People in Kenya don't fear court. If I'm talking the truth, the lies, that mean, can I shut up? Am I talking lies? Do people in Kenya fear the court anymore? Who fears the court in Kenya? Waruke is a moving object. Does he fear court? How many people have been left on bail? Itumbi has got about 5 bail applications. Which country? No, which country is where you can have a friend, you go back to the same court, they give you bail. I swear, in London, they give you 1 bail, Miriam, and then you come back again into any court, and they check you have bail here, you will not come back. You will spend and finish all those sentences in jail. Then when you win, you can go home. You can't have bail. You can't have bail. 6 bail applications granted. Only 1 head. 1 head. Kichwa moja ya Itumbi ako na 5 bail applications. Hara? And he goes on even insulting more people. The man who stole this money, Miriam, we were even shown the photograph. Do you know what? He's relaxing. He's even laughing at this guy, at all of us who are on TV here trying to criticize him. He said, look at this foolish Ugandan. Look at this woman, we call him Miriam. Look at this woman, Gladwell. They are laughing now. Say, country, when you talk about it, they call you that you're Ugandan, don't speak. We don't want you. But then it is Uganda that brings carrots for us to eat. Are there carrots here? They are really Gladwell, the carrots that you hammer in Githrai, are they here? Where do they come from? No, where do they come from? So why do you eat the food and hate the person? Let's love each other as Africans, like Kibaki used to love everybody. He even has Makerere University, a name, a house, a hall named after Mr. Kibaki. Pan-African. When you talk about these things, Ruto's people, he has recruited villagers from every village in the Rift Valley. Those who don't even know where Tocho is, they tell you Tocho is in Turkana. They are on social media, given 300 shillings to molest everybody who even brings a good idea. One of the problems, Miriam, that I've seen, people don't read the articles. You don't read a good article someone has written and you don't even know how to write. That's the only serious thing here. Some people pretend walk around here with clothes, but if you give them to write an article and say construct this article and let it, they will go and copy paste from books, and then they present they are doing exams. What exams are these? What? Stupidity. People don't read. Write a good article on Medium, on your post, on your Facebook. Write a good one and say, corruption in Kenya can be fought this way, ABCD, holistic approach on this. Nobody wants to see. But you write an article to say, what can I say? I read an article yesterday and written by somebody who is here. He airlifted. She will tell us herself about the article. I laughed. I said, Allah. It was talking about this, that, marriage. I said, the wedding will be this time, this way. I said, what is going on here? So people like Miriam, people don't want to be told that Mr. Avalon, the name of Avalon Offshore Logistics, the owner is Mr. Kibaki or Mr. Say, who was caught and taken to court, is here. And now, if you see how many trenches this man has been carrying, where were we when he was carrying all this money? When you bring information, nobody wants to take you serious. Medium, I want to tell you that during Moi's regime, if you go to Nyayo House and say, there is something wrong here, the special branch will arrest you and ask you, how did you know? Can I repeat that? If you go and say, I have seen someone suspiciously trying to steal Miriam's car, then the special branch in Kenya will ask you, did you catch him steal or you saw him walking near the car? He said, but sir, this man was armed. How could I now go to him? Instead of the police saying, let's go there, this is a clue, and we find out maybe we might find this guy there. You are the one to be paying the price. We got very bad manners from British system, yet the British have a different way of behavior to crime. They go back in their house and make a telephone call. I don't know how many million of you can make a telephone call that I have seen Mr. Avalon Logistics. Even when you are on the same flight, instead of making a telephone call, Gladwell and some people will say, can I talk to you a bit? I've seen you with a lot of money, but I don't want to make a telephone call. I also need some money. I'm not saying Gladwell you are going to say it, but it is happening. Miriam, so all this. Let's talk about Equity Bank. Honestly, and then you tell me you have a governor of the bank who's restricting Matanga to draw 1 million and no, listen, I want what the hell is this? Go to that bank there, down there, and you want to draw 2 million shillings in cash. You want to draw 2 million shillings in cash. You want to draw it and go. Miriam, do you know what? They will tell you to go and fill the paper and bring even the certificate of your father's death. So you leave the bank while you're crying. A man like me who did not bury the father, it will rekindle a lot of my thoughts. So it's my money. It has been sent by a contract where I've worked in a contract in an African country. I've brought in, I want to use it. And you are telling me to fill forms and even you fill the name of my father and my father's burial date and a certificate before you draw 2 million shillings. I'm not lying. I don't know whether Kiragu, I'm lying. If I'm lying, shake your head. Don't shake your head, but not. I'm not lying. Medium, if you want to draw 2 million shillings in cash in Kenyan bank, it is easier to enter the kingdom of God through the needle than to draw 2 million shillings in cash in Kenyan bank today. But let me ask, how does one bank, $374,000, and the red flag is not raised in the central bank?
The banking of such big amounts of money is what raised the red flag. So I think the banks flagged off these accounts and they talked to the central bank and the assets recovery. So they started monitoring the activities of these accounts.
Media flagged off when. Okay, 20 polypoly apple. Flagged off when. Now, why are we having only 5.6 billion? Have you seen that? Why are we having 5.6? It means the bank waited until Angalia, everybody in the bank, everybody got the money they wanted, they were happy. Kila mtu anapigia mwenzi yake simu. Sikia Miriam, please. Don't tell me. Look, hello. Imeingia, imeingia, bas. Get the little which is left there. Miriam, they have taken 20 billion away. The little that was left there, let's now mess this man up in order to look very good in the eyes of the government. Senor, do you see that? I am Colombo. Sorry. I'm Colombo. You can't disagree with me on that. Look here. When did the bank start? When did the bank really start raising an alarm? When it raised an alarm, but now when it raised an alarm, already 20 billion is not available. We have only now seen exhibit 5.6 billion. But 20 million has already done campaign in yellow and green. Incited people, they are going to beat up each other. Sindio, apenda mwizi yetu. Mtupatie mwizi, muue Yesu. Release Barabbas. Thank you, Miriam, back to you. That's my story. That captures me in the Kenyan papers. I will not speak unless you ask me another one. Back to me, Kenneth, go and yourself.
All right, Gladwell, your thoughts on that? Gladwell?
Yeah.
Miriam, just to touch on the issue, I want to add about just a little bit because Papa said much. There's the people we call the big fish in Kenya, the well-protected, the untouchables. And that's why you can find somebody, the money is easily transferred without even raising the flags. Because the person is well protected by some people, well untouchable people. That's why, and my question also will be, how can one transfer money from Kenya to Nigeria? Yet in Kenya, we got banks that can facilitate such an amount. But at the same time, the money launderers, but this is not the first time you're having such an issue. In Kenya, we also know there's some places where money is washed. Yes, the wash business is happening in Kenya in some places. You just go, you find money is being washed and it's back to the market. So I think it's a behavior we're having in Kenya. The only thing we've done, we have upgraded from transferring money to Nigeria, transferring money to Uganda, transferring money to Tanzania for those people who hide their money there. And reason being, why do they transfer the money? Because they know after a particular time they need that money. And that's why in Kenya you find that so many people, so many people are developing. Because that money only fits particular people's pockets, not everybody. And who happens to suffer? It's the common mwananchi. Because as you think that this particular person will help you, that's not the case. Mm-hmm. So again, with the money laundering, it also involves the theft and corruption. Because there's no way, Miriam, I being glad when I can transfer 25 billion. No, it can't happen. And again, Dr. Pad, you say that you question the person. You can't question a person. Actually, even currently, if I walk out and see somebody with a gun, so people will opt to keep quiet because you don't know who are following that person and you don't know if they're working together or they're working closely. And that's why we're having cases of mystery disappearance. People are just disappearing. They're later found dead. So in Kenya, I think we in the world of, yes, we got the independence, but we're not enjoying the freedom we have as Kenyans. You just can't report anybody. And about people fearing the court dog, the big fishes, those who are well protected, they don't fear the courts. The people who fear the courts are the common mwananchi. That village person who was caught when he was stolen just a cock to feed his family or just a unga is prisoned to 1 year imprisonment. But what happens to somebody who stole over millions is just walking free with bailout. So the people who suffer, we as the common mwananchi, we do suffer.
All right. Thank you so much, Clalbert. And just to add on what both of you have said in the story, ARA, on the other hand, seeks to have illicit funds forfeited to the government. The funds frozen by the High Court were part of the 25.6 billion Kenya shillings wired into the country from Nigeria and Hong Kong before part of it allegedly vanished. This means that the local banks that received the funds, that is Equity and UBA, could be the only way to determine where the 20 billion Kenya shillings is or was wired. So I think the work is cut out there for Equity Bank and UBA. I think that will help even in the investigations. They have to. Of course, because they do have the records to show where those monies, the 20 billion that allegedly vanished. 20 billion can't just vanish. That's a lot of money. So the work is cut out there for Equity Bank and UBA. On another almost similar story, anti-corruption detectives are seeking to establish how a 36-year-old junior employee at the Ministry of Environment on a net monthly salary of 32,000 Kenya shillings and 80 million Kenya shillings. Mr. Samuel Karaoke Njoroge, a finance officer in Job Group K, has been irregularly receiving large sums from the ministry amounting to nearly 80 million Kenya shillings. And perhaps, Doc, this brings us to the debate, and part of the things that were contained in the BBI in line with the lifestyle audit to all civil servants. I think it's about time we made this into a law. We adopt this.
Miriam, again, my sister, I've told you, we shall never know the truth about all this. One year ago, an office messenger in NHIF, is that the correct? Is it NSSF or NIHF? I think the one of NIHF, the one for medical cover and so on. The office messenger who had 12 buildings, bungalows,
about 8 townhouses,
80 properties. He had 80 properties, a fleet of cars, and a car for a chief, for a judge, a girlfriend judge, whom we know very well. We took the photographs at Mlimani Court of that white Range Rover. And what happened? The judge was transferred, promoted, protected. She was sent to another place. The Range Rover disappeared from the parking lot of Mlimani Court. The office messenger, not office, the receptionist, could fly to Sokimayo by helicopter from Wilson, while his fleet of cars are waiting for him nearby Sokimayo, where the helicopter lands to take him home. Hara, is this planet Earth or planet Venus? They say the earth is hard. And see, Yakuma, I don't know how Gladwell says in their language. What do you say, Gladwell? The earth is hard. What do you say, Kikuyu?
Venedito.
Eh?
Venedito.
Venedito. The earth is hard, and see Zivu. The lawyers in Kenya will say Shiva Rashid Zivu. The Mudavadi, who says there is earthquake, will know where is the earthquake. When I published the agreement before, they had hidden the agreement. Nobody has come up and said Matsanga published a fake document. I quoted them. They don't know. They thought they were very clever. They had hidden an agreement. Now nobody, did you not see that nobody came to contest my agreement, which I published? So we have a problem. Where is that office receptionist? A girlfriend, the judge, was transferred to another station. I don't want to mention the name here because people could reach her. That case, have you heard about it? Do you hear about it? No. 3 men went and dug a hole in Thika, KCB branch. They took 50 million shillings. Where is the case? Where is the case? So many cases. So, medium, it shouldn't even bother you for us to say what is the case you are talking about? Which case is this? Can we have justice? Can justice come to Kenya? When will justice come? Now, the biggest bombshell in Kenya is the criminal justice system. And when people, Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta, wanted to change the criminal justice system to catch the thieves, what happened? What happened? Someone went and paid. He even came and said, I defeated BBI. Yet there are people in Kiambu who have lost constituencies. Yet there are bursary people paying bursary in Kiambu County, where the MP has to go and borrow money from a bank to pay for bursaries, because the amount of money given to the county is not enough for the students. Kiambu has 2.1 million people, and it is given its same money, same equivalent, like Isiolo, which has 300,000 people, where the schools are scarce and the school-going people are very few. So you call that fair, that you have lied to Kenyans, you want to lead them. That is very good. He came up and said, we know everything. We finished the BBI, it is good, it collapsed. Walikuwa nataka kupata cheo, what is this called? Madaraka de JP. Positions are called vyeo, usijue. Kirangu, I told you to teach me some Swahili. You are keeping quiet and making mistakes. Is it vyeo? Yeah. So, Miriam, we have a very terrible history in Kenya. Not only in Kenya, the entire Africa, but Kenya has terrible history. Can I tell you why? 2 speakers of parliament today are presiding over parliament. They have declared interest to stand. One wanted to be a president, and he has even said, I belong to this party. Against the constitution, but none of them can resign. So we might not be able to trace this money. We might not be able to see this money. And we might not be able to prosecute even half an inch of the cases that we have. Because, and I drop another bombshell, we have become a state of brokers. If Gradual can disagree that we are not a state of brokers, then I don't know. Kenya is a state of brokers. If you ask somebody the route taking you to State House, and after that you want to drive your car off, you'll hear somebody knocking in the car. Sema mzee lakini unaniwacha bure. It's a brokerage. Unaniwacha bure. You feel sympathetic. If you have you're a person with money, you have 5,000 in the pocket, and there's some loose change of 200 or 300. Don't you give, Kiraku? Don't you give? You give. Because you never know, that money could be the one going to make this man survive. Because he could collapse there. So a world of brokerage, brokers, they are everywhere. They are in court. They are in court. They are in court. They are in every direction. So that is it.
Very well. So an affidavit filed by the commission at
Miriam, your audio is not good.
Okay. The production will look into it.
Your audio is not good, please.
All right, the production is looking into it. An affidavit filed by the Commission at the Anti-Corruption Court in Nairobi says Mr. Njoroge has received 79,763,944 Kenya shillings into his Equity Bank account in separate tranches from the Ministry Integrated Financial Management and Information Systems IFMIS account over 3 years. The detectives have established that some of the amounts were irregularly paid to Mr. Njoroge for purchase of snacks. Between March 2019 and March 2022, Mr. Njoroge received a total of 3,991,300 for purchase of snacks from the ministry's IFMIS account, but there was no withdrawal made from the account. The amount was sent in 3 tranches dated March 8th, 2022, December 22, 2020, and September 9th, 2020, with the suspect receiving 485,000, 465,000, and 437,000 respectively. He, however, only withdrew about 143,000 and 57,000 after the last 2 deposits were made. So all this money, about 79,000, close to 80,000, this person was paid for to get snacks, and he was paid by the IFMIS. The IFMIS is a system. This is serious, and into his Equity Bank account. Gladwell.
Miriam, as I said, with such issues, I'm also where money is involved from one person to another. The reason as to why, and I'm sorry to say so, the reason as to why there is no follow-up. And if there is the case it is just to disappear in the thin air. I don't know if you have ever done a coverage on, I'm sorry to bring up this topic, I don't know if you have ever done a coverage on these people who also do the drug trafficking. Before you get the job, what you do, you have to take a note. That in case of anything, it's either you die or it's either you shut up. So I'm also thinking with the Kenya, the way the money disappears, the same case. Because like Doc has said, the NHIF scandal, the secretary was involved, but what happened? It just disappeared. Some of these cases, they just vanished to the end, and we don't hear about them again. Again, when COVID did strike it, we remember about the money that actually was in everybody's citizens' tongues talking about it. The money, I can't remember how many millions that was used to buy tea, snacks. You can imagine yet a common mwananchi somewhere is only anahangaika, doesn't have something to eat, but you can see the government is spending millions over tea and mandazi, because that is what mostly they take, tea, mandazi, yes, a snack, sausage, such. But you can see, so what I want you to see is the equality we have in Kenya, the people who benefit from such things. And as I said, this money fits in particular people's pocket, not everybody. And another thing with these people, they are wise. Not everybody is given the mandate to control that money. And what they do, Miriam, they can't come tell you that take this money now. And I mean, it just come somebody you've been working along, somebody they've seen that is loyal and can do something. What they do, you just give them a percentage of viewers and you do the thing and you keep quiet. And that's why when this guy, the foreigner, was arrested, he didn't say much. He just kept quiet and the case vanished. Because you have to protect the person who is giving you the job, because of tomorrow, that is where you feed your family from. The fraud business, the money wash. Like there's somebody who does the money wash, and she has never actually been brought to the limelight. Somebody very popular, but she has never been brought to limelight. And that is what she does. She has washed money for these big politicians. But has she ever been mentioned? No. So I want you to see, this money who it favors, not everybody.
All right. Okay. And just moving on to other matters before we conclude the show. Date to list running mates pushed back as Raila Ruto lobby. Delaying tactics to manage competing interests within the political formations informed the strong push by Deputy President William Ruto and former Prime Minister Raila Odinga to seek for more time to name their running mates. Yesterday, Dr. Ruto and Mr. Odinga's camps fought to postpone tomorrow's deadline to submit names of their number twos, forcing the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission (IEBC) to extend the cut-off date by 20 more days. This came even as it emerged that Mr. Odinga's Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition party was planning an elaborate process to pick its candidate, with plans to hold yet another National Delegates Convention (NDC) on May 14th to approve the nominee. Azimio has set up the advisory panel sanctioned by its council, a top decision-making organ chaired by President Kenyatta, to recommend potential nominees. IEBC has set April 28th as the deadline for handing in the names of presidential candidates and their running mates, but the deadline also applied to aspirants in gubernatorial contest, and now also have until May 16th to submit the names. So the parties there have had a reprieve. They have just a couple of more days to settle on their deputies there. Doc.
What does the Constitution say about nomination and of running mates? Very clear, 2017, by this time, tomorrow. In fact, on 2017, it was done on 27th. You remember? Raila had Kalonzo and Uhuru had William Ruto. The same BBI in 2022 begins very well by stating that's what the law says. Now, it has bent the law. You can see. There are two things that this IEBC is forgetting. The IEBC is forgetting that there are several presidential candidates, not only two. Have you seen that? Mm-hmm. That one of these candidates is going to move to court and nullify the entire exercise. Did you know that, Miriam? Nullify it. Because you are considering how many? Two. If they come and tell you, we want one leg to be cut off, you cut it off. But the middle one finger will say, Allah, but I'm also part of the person on equal status. Can you explain to me what an independent candidate with his fellow independent candidate ready to go would do in these circumstances, Miriam? You have told them to get 1,000 signatures. 2,000, is it 2,000? Mm-hmm. 2,000 signatures. They have got them. They have spent money. Then on the day when you said you should submit, why did the IEBC come up the other time and then it started mouthing itself, oh, we want this to be done by 28th? Why did they sit down to arrange, talk to the stakeholders before they came to publicity? Is that a bad question to ask for me? I'm sorry. I've changed the tactics to ask questions direct. If they hurt you, go and slaughter yourself. Or put your head near the transformer before Dr. Monica Juma sees you. Because if you are found near the transformer and Dr. Monica, the Minister of Energy, sees you, you might go in for life sentence because they might think you are stealing the transformer. That's my position. Go there, medium, because we have to engage the ukweli. These things that we are making now, the stupidity growth and the changing of the IABC is going to cost the election. The whole of it will be nullified. Someone will go to court and say, look, we did not get the time the two parties got. So this election was not properly arranged. Technical, you cannot refuse. The court asked Mr. Kibaki, where did you put the ballot? They spoiled the ballot. Only that question. You can hate the rest of Maraga and the rest. Yes, there were some factors, but they had one question. And the woman who asked the question is that woman of Makweni, the Deputy Chief Justice Mwiru. She's still there. And she doesn't, she showed you the true colors by saying there is a basic structure. Didn't she say that you had? She agrees there's a basic structure. I disagree with my friends. However, I agree with them, but I disagree. There's a basic structure in the constitution. She will again nullify your election.
And Doc, in extension, and these days that have been added, let me just read the reasons why Chebukati gave, which I think will be very interesting, and I'd just like to get your thoughts on it. Mr. Chebukati explained that the deadline for submission of the names of aspirants for the National Assembly, Senate, Women Representative, and County Assembly still remains tomorrow. This mainly to give the Commission a chance to submit those names for Chapter 6 institutions so that they can carry out due diligence on the aspirants. The chairman said the same will be done for presidential and gubernatorial candidates and their running mates before the nomination meetings of May 23rd. Chapter 6 institutions are Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, and Judiciary, State Law Office, Commission of University Education, and Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions. I don't know what this will be for. Well, some of these institutions have come out already and said, you know what, even for the ones who have been accused of corruption and still have cases in court and they still have other things that they have to answer to, that, you know, they'll just look the other side. And so why do we even need this process in the first place then?
First of all, Miriam, what I've just said, have you seen that contradiction?
It does not make sense.
That tomorrow the rest of the people can submit. So who are these human beings? That is Raila from the mass? Is Ruto from mass? No, you people, you know, Miriam.
It's preferential treatment here, which I think is an
it is not preferential treatment. It is an error. We are making an error. This is a very big error that can cost this election, that will make Kenya repeat an election. We are making a very big mistake. We don't have a registered, a clean register. You don't know who is a voter. We are in a madhouse of planet Mercury, where all of us are running away from being banned by Mercury and the temperatures on planet Mercury. Kiraku, you can look at me like that, but I'm telling you, we are in a mess. We are in Armageddon. Hello. Tulimugayena. What do you call Guyena? Guyena is hell. Kibaki has taken us to hell. This is not a planet Earth. You are saying the county assemblies and other plans, your papers must be there tomorrow. Now, somebody will go to court and they say, it's an election. There are not two types of elections. There's one election and one type of rules. If you are saying the EACC must start on this one, then why don't you delay all of them? This is, look here, Miriam, and Gladwell. This, oh my God, this is a catalog of cocktails of difficulties. A cocktail of difficulties. This election, I don't know. I really don't know. It's not an election. It's just something being done in a primary school, arrange how to elect a prefect. There's no seriousness here. And these are the grounds that people are going to lay down. And they said, Your Honor, Mr. Kibaki, on 26th of Tuesday, 26th April 2020, made an announcement that he wanted to meet all parties. And Mr. Kibaki, again, in that same announcement, made it clear after meeting the parties that all the county assembly members, aspirants, women, whatever, your document must be in tomorrow. My Lordship, I would like to ask, were we doing another body, was it another body conducting our elections and another one conducting the elections of the president? And what will be the answer? It's the same body making errors. The election will be nullified. Another question, maybe Gladwell can.
Yes, let me just hear Gladwell's thoughts on this. So the rest of everybody else the deadline is tomorrow. And this is, according to Chebukati, mainly to give the commission a chance to submit those names to Chapter 6 institutions. That is on leadership and integrity, to see if these people have violated any laws or there's something about them that should not make them vie. And, you know, IEBC came a couple of days ago and the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions has said, even for those who have cases in court, even for those who, you know, they're allowed to go and contest despite the fact that, you know, they have very serious cases to answer to. So is this a mockery to us as Kenyans?
I'll start by asking, he gave them more time to submit the names. Is that according to the Constitution? And I support talk. What ABC is doing actually to mess us Kenyans. Because the same way they are still pushing on things, the same way we Kenyans will actually wake up, vote, and we don't get results. Instead, the country turns to a mess. We go into a war that we don't want to go back. I'm saying, Miriam, people have not healed from the 207 to 08. So I say, can you stop adding Kenyans more pains? The economy actually is still shaking. So can you stop putting us in a mess that we can't handle? You know, so many people actually currently are suffering. Depression is because of the current economy. Then again, the IBC trying to make Kenyans look, they are mocking us as Kenyans. And we are the stupid Kenyans because we can't see. We're just saying, oh yes, let them go ahead. And I always say, can we see beyond our nose? Can we reason out? Because as a West Kenyan, we should be raising the issue. I mean, why should they push the date forward? It's the same way the election is set, the deadline, they say, no, I mean, we're not ready for the election. We want to push the election when the day is almost near. I mean, currently what IBC is doing, we're expecting anything from them. We're expecting anything. We're very much ready. Only for foolish Kenyan can't see that. And that is when, for example, if the election are pushed, that is when Kenyans will start saying, hey, you're not being fair. But what are they doing now? They're just quiet. IBC is running things in a very messy way. They're also confused. They don't know what they want. And if I was asked, Chebukati, can you just walk out? I mean, there's somebody who can run that docket better off. Somebody who see that Kenya needs peace. We need somebody in that docket, not the Chebukati. I mean, we're so tired. Every day IBC has done this. We're tired of the story, IBC. Can they do away with Chebukati and give us somebody better?
Okay. All right, thank you. And because of the interest of time, perhaps we stop here and then we take a break because we have to come back and continue with that other show on the top of the hour at 11 a.m. Let me just remind that...
Miriam?
Yes.
Before you... there is something that before you close, so that we can take a break and prepare for a very good topic at the top of the hour. Before you close, Miriam, please, I just want to ask one thing. Gladwell has raised a question of step aside and leave. If things are not working, if I were the one, I would call the press and say, actually, if Chebukati recommends to the country and to the president that he cannot hold this election, or he cannot, Kenyan parliament can come down and find an amicable way out. The law says 8th, 9th of August. But if you cannot hold it, the law did the law say what we can do if we cannot hold the election on that date? Look at that law. It has gone that an election can only be done if there is a war. Somalia has invaded us. Yes. And the Somalia is heading towards Nairobi, you can suspend elections. That there is a natural calamity that cannot be, things that have happened, which are natural, earthquake, what, you can declare a state of disaster. So, when you are doing the constitution, you needed to look at this. What about if the chairperson of the Electoral Commission is not capable under the commission? What do? We are too late. The parliament is already divided. If you want to say you want to take out Mr. Chebukati, another group will say, no, you are targeting our man. So we are caught up, my dear Gladwell, in catch 22. It is our problem, it's your problem. I don't know, given all this, the rate of voter apathy increases every day. You hear Chebukati's mouth. Did you know that? You hear Chebukati talk on TV. The more he talks, the more people say, on that day, if you see me near the polling station, you will see my ghost. Are there no people saying that in Kiragu? No, Kiragu, you are in Mashinani. You walk, you go to Rimuru, you walk across, you were in Homabay. Are there no people expressing that? People are saying, if this is the way, it is a finito case. It's finito. So it's very interesting. And when you talk about the deputies, you see, I have concluded. Are there people talking?